All right, what's up, guys? Thanks for joining me again for another episode of Get Funk. This ain't the normal spot we're on, but I am going to be live next Thursday or this Thursday, the 8th, I believe it is. We're doing another special. I got part 2 with Reno, a former WCW hardcore legend. But before we get started, I got to take a shout out to a couple of our sponsors here. We got a new sponsor, the WrestlingUniverse.com. The Wrestling Universe is your one-stop shop for all your wrestling merchandise. They have all kinds of WWE, TNA, UFC, WCW, ECW action figures, past, present. They carry T-shirts, wrestling cards, autographed 8x10, masks, belts, and much more. They also have in-store signings with some of the biggest names from the wrestling world. So if you're ever in New York, go check them out. I did an autograph sign with these guys in April. Me, Mark Jindrak, Mike Sanders, Crowbar, and Nick Patrick, and the dudes were first class. So definitely check out their website, WrestlingUniverse.com. They do ship internationally, and they're class act guys, so support their business. Also, I want to get a shout out to Sleefs.com, SLEEFS, Sleefs.com. You use your code MWA pod on their website, you get your 10% off. They got dirty boxers. You see the picture here. They got any kind of, if you're in MMA, if you're in football, they got all kinds of sports gear. So check those out. Sleeps.com. Make sure you use the code MWA pod for your 10% off. Also, healthvape.com. Another sponsor. Same thing. Use the code MWA pod for your 10% off. Healthvape.com. It's a healthy alternative to vaping. They got vitamins, they're energy infused, they got boosters, all kinds of vitamin infused in all their products. So it's, not just like you're smoking a regular vape, you're actually getting something out of it. So check out healthvape.com, MWA pod for your 10%. So I'm excited for tonight, man. We got, let me shoot Ricky in here. What's up, Ricky? Part 2, baby. Brother, I was sitting around the house, my phone, my computer, everything just kept buzzing. When's Ricky going to do the second part, brother? So here you are, part 2 with Rick Cornell. You might know him as Reno from WCW. He used to beat the shit out of the likes of The Wall, Brian Knobbs, Terry Funk. He beat them all. He was the hardcore champion of WCW. Also, Rick, here in a couple minutes, I got a huge surprise for you. Huge surprise. Some guy you haven't seen in 22 plus years. You haven't talked to him within the last 5 minutes. Nothing like that. You haven't seen this guy forever. But first of all, let's say hey to Annette. Annette's my chick down there in Melbourne, Australia, man. I'm going to go visit her. She's going to cook me some meals. And if you want to come with me, Rick, you're more than welcome. But I just want to let you know she's my girl, so you keep your hands off of her.
Absolutely. I would love to actually be able to go down to Australia this time. That'd be nice.
Yeah. So, Annette, she's an awesome girl, man. She's always supported my show from the get-go, man. So I got to say shout out to Annette from, I think Victoria, Australia. It's close to Melbourne. So what's that?
I said, how you doing, Annette? It'd be nice to go down there finally, since I wasn't allowed to go down there the first time we went.
That's right. He would. Well, the reason he wasn't allowed to go down there because he was too violent for the continent. So they couldn't get a cage big enough to contain him. So they just said, you know what?
It was the 2 weeks after the Olympics, and you couldn't go down there if you had any type of record. And unfortunately, myself and who else was it? Was it Booker T and Scotty Steiner? I think.
Hey, listen, that's blasphemy. I don't believe Rick Cornell had a record. Man, this is horse shit. I didn't know all this was going on. I'm going to have to look into this. All right, Rick, before we start the show, what's that?
I said, I'd like to go this time.
All right. Well, you know what? I don't know. We'll have to see what we can work out. They still don't like vicious criminals down there in Australia. But I like I said, I got a surprise for you, Rick. Now you haven't seen this guy in 22 years. He was he was once your tag team partner in WCW. He's a main staple at the power plant when I started down there. He was on all the AEW or the A&E biography, the history of wrestling. I believe he was on that, and he was on several other. And to be quite honest with you, man, I was surprised that Paul Knox never came to the new power plant with us. I thought he was a hell of a talent, and he was a hard worker, and he had a good sense for the business. So just goes to show you, man, the politics and stuff that's played in the wrestling business. But here he is.
Oh, there he is.
I got it, Rick.
So all right, so
What's going on, brother?
Paul Knox, baby.
Hey, Allan.
What's up, man?
Real
All
quick,
right.
the reason why you guys didn't see me at the new power plant was 10 pounds.
10 pounds? Is that what they told
10
you?
pounds. I walked in there, and Paul Orndorff told me, he said, you gain 10 pounds and come back, and I'll offer you a deal. So,
and then what happened after that?
At the time, I was about 210. I'm probably about 248 now. But I started going to school, and I think the whole thing just rubbed me wrong.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it did.
I was like 10 pounds is the only thing that you see, to me, that was just kind of ridiculous.
Absolutely. I agree.
Right.
I agree.
You know what? I kind of do remember something about that now. When you always forget, and then you kind of refresh your memory. But yeah, it's just one of them things, man. Sorry that happened to you, Paul. Man, I know a lot of things in this wrestling business always rub you the wrong way, or that's why some people get out of it.
Yeah, and actually, most people thought that I actually had a deal before all that even happened.
Yeah, I could see that happening because you carry yourself a little different. When I first come down there, compared to some of the other guys, you seemed like you had not a cocky, but you were confident in what you were doing down there, and it showed.
Hey, Rick, you remember the time that we went down for WCW Saturday night, and I was actually wrestling a match against. You remember his real name was Boonton Sanctifon, but Pez always just called him Ping Pong.
Oh yeah,
you remember Ping Pong. Well, I had a match with him because Sonny Ono wanted to see him. And so I did a match, and everything went fine, changed back out of the gear. And Scott Steiner was needing somebody to wrestle that night on TV. And they were trying to find somebody to go out and do it and stuff like that. And I think they even walked over to you, and you didn't have your gear or anything. And you were still really new at the power plant. So Scott Steiner came up to me, and he was like, okay, 5 minutes, we're going to go out and work a match. Which was funny because I just went out there and healed my ass off against Ping Pong 5 minutes earlier. And then they want me to go out there and wrestle the top heel. Same crowd 5 minutes later. But, and then Scott Steiner's back there, and you know how Scott was. And Scott was like, listen, don't be getting no heat out there, And, as soon as they opened up the doors, this crowd just saw me. So they're booing me all over again. And I'm like, oh, shit.
Sure, that was WCW, man. That was par for the course right there, man.
Yeah, but I wrestled a match, and Scott Steiner really liked working with me. And Terry Taylor was the one that got real high on me from that. And they called me in the power plant the next day, and Jody Hamilton said, listen, he said, they're going to offer you some kind of a deal. He said, but just be careful. He says, I don't want them taking you to the Saturday night and jobbing you every week. He says, but you've got a deal coming because they like you. And it wasn't shortly thereafter that we went to one of those E3 conventions. I went with Sweet Pea and Jason Sensation and Sean Evans. And there was a couple of the others. I went down there to do some bodyguard work for Bret Hart and Sting. They were promoting the E3 game. And when I came back, that's when everything all got into a mess. And they told everybody you were going to do a couple of matches in front of James J. Dillon and Paul Orndorff and them to see who was going to go to the new facility. And I think we all did a singles match, and then we did a tag match. And they were telling me at first that I might not even be doing those matches. But then they said no. They said Orndorff wants to see you again, so they put you in the matches. And me and Rick had a match. And Rick, if you remember, we also did a tag match with Elix Skipper and Hardbody.
I remember our singles. I did not remember. I mean, I'm recalling it now, but I did not remember the tag match at all.
Yeah, we and we did actually they loved the match. They said the match was ready for Nitro because we had actually had time to get in there and work on a little bit, which we never did that before. We always just got out there and did a match, but we had time to kind of work the match a little bit. And obviously we were in there with Elix, and Elix is phenomenal to work with. Yeah. So it was a hell of a match.
Yeah,
bro, all those matches that day were ready to go on Nitro compared to the shit they were throwing out there.
I 100% agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so then it sucks you didn't get to go to the new power plant with us, but it was the same bullshit, just a different building, you know.
Yeah, I think that was kind of when I saw how some of you guys were getting done there. I think that kind of sealed the deal for me.
Yeah, well, they released Mike Sanders. Paul didn't like him for some reason because he didn't have physique then. But then after they released him, he was still doing the Saturday night stuff, and then he gained a little bit of weight. So then he got back on TV. So he got what he deserved for all his hard work. But some of the guys didn't like you.
Yeah, and Mike Sanders, he was one of Sarge's boys.
Sarge he was definitely Sarge's boy, yeah, because he would do the rings and stuff with Sarge, and that's how he was keeping his feet in the door there for a while.
Yeah, I was one of Pez's boys.
And then I guess he passed away not too long after we went down to the new one, or I think he might have passed away before that, right?
Yeah. He, I think he was waiting on a kidney transplant, and it just never worked out for him.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I was kind of wondering. I thought there was something like that wrong with him, but Pez was a great guy, man. I loved having him down there working on interviews and stuff, man. He was great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Pez. I tell you though, my fondest memory of Pez. If you ever said, you remember how nasty the old power plant was.
Yeah, no shit.
But we sat back at that table, and Pez would take little chicken wings, and he put the whole damn thing in his mouth, and he swish it around, and then just spit out the bones clean. And that just fascinated. And he would always like, "What are you looking at me for?" And I'm like, "I had never seen anybody do that before."
He's sitting right next to Hardbody eating his pickled pig's feet.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Fucking Hardbody.
Yeah. Yeah, not to brag, but me and Rick were the tag team champions for Hardbody's organization.
Yeah, that's a hell of a feat trying to get over on one of his shows. It's a wonder he didn't have the tag belts by himself.
You know what's funny about that is they used to have, the heavyweight championship was the main event. And, me and Rick was just being me and Rick. So we were getting over there like crazy. And so next thing you know, Hardbody takes himself out of the heavyweight title picture and starts finding tag teams because he always wants to do tag matches with at these places to get himself over. It was ridiculous.
Jesus.
Rick, my daughter is a huge wrestling fan, and so she wanted to go back and watch some of my old tapes. And one of our tapes were the tag champions, and we come walking out, and both of us forget the damn tag belts. So you put one finger up and you turn around and leave, and I'm like, where the hell is he going? And then you come walking out with both belts, and I'm like, oh damn.
Jesus.
Yeah, it sounds like us.
Yeah, I can see Rick doing that. Give me 1 second, I'll be right back.
Do you remember that little boy in a wheelchair that we used to have him hold our belts for us when we come into the ring?
Absolutely. Yep.
And we were heels too.
Yeah.
And I can remember Jody Hamilton coming in there, and he's like, I don't know how in the hell you two guys are heels and pull it off, but you guys pull that off. He said, you give the belts to a kid in a wheelchair, and you get in the ring, and you two assholes still heel.
Jesus.
Yeah, you couldn't. This right here, this isn't the moneymaker. Yeah, you can't be a good guy and look like this.
Shit.
Allan, don't believe that. He had to fight the girls off of him on shows.
Well, you know what? I don't want to say nothing because Angela might be listening, but I know the gimmick. He plays that dumb, I'm the dumb guy, not so good looking gimmick, but I know how that works.
I don't have to play it. It's right here.
Hey, Paul, let me tell you one thing though. There was one thing that one girl never said to him. She never said, "Hey, I'd like to have your dick in my mouth." Exactly in that tone of voice too, and it actually sounded just like her, didn't it?
Yeah.
I'll agree on that one. Yeah, no.
Hey, well, you know what? I did want to cover this story. So Paul, we're up in Cincinnati. I'll tell you this story. It has to do with that. So Brian Adams has got this girl at one of the shows. We're doing a show at Dave & Buster's down in Cincinnati. Well, actually, I think we were in Kentucky, right across the river there from Cincinnati.
Yeah.
We're at Dave and Buster's, so we do a show, and so afterwards, of course, we got like free tokens and stuff. We're hanging out, Dave and Buster's playing games. So this chick, which muscular chick, right, Rick? You'd say that?
Yeah, I'd say that.
Real muscular chick, had one of them deep voices from probably because she was yelling at the show. It had nothing to do with any hormones or anything she was probably taking. So she actually sounded like, "Hey, Rick, you mind coming over here and sticking your cock in my mouth?" Is that pretty accurate?
Rick will do anything for a fan.
Yeah, exactly.
Except she didn't say Rick.
Anyway, this girl's hammered drunk, and I know she's going up to Bryan Adams because she was there visiting Bryan Adams. She was on her way to his room. So I said, we're staying up there at the same hotel Brian's at, so I couldn't let this chick drive. She was drunker than hell, and she was pretty obnoxious, wasn't she, Rick?
You could say that.
So Rick and who the hell was with you that night? You like 3 or 4 of you guys jumped in a car, and I said, "Well, you guys follow me up to the hotel. I'm going to take this chick in her." She had a Jeep.
I'm not. You know what? I'm not sure who was with me. I don't know if it was. I don't know if it was Johnny Bull and Sandy or.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was, but
yeah.
Either way, these guys are following. And I told just follow me because I don't want nothing to happen to this chick or whatever because we're taking up to Brian. So we're driving. This chick's all over me in the car, dude. And if you know one thing about me on the road, I never cheated on my wife. So this chick's like grabbing, trying to take my damn pants off while I'm driving. I'm trying to drive stick. I get on the phone. I'm like, "Rick, I'm pulling over. You need to get this chick out. I got to get out of here." Like, and you hear in the background going, quit fighting with me. I'm going to grab your cock. Rick's laughing. He's like, "You dumbass, we're not pulling over." I said, "You motherfuckers better pull over because I got to get out of here. This chick's like raping me." and they're all laughing. And Rick hangs up. I call him back. I'm like, "Dude, this shit ain't fucking funny. I got to get out of here." So finally, we get up to the hotel. I get her out of the car, man. We take her up to Brian's room. He thanks me for bringing her up there. And I'm just like, oh, my God. Unbelievable. Yeah, that's what we had to deal with in Cincinnati, Paul. Yeah. You didn't miss nothing up there.
Yeah, she was a real sweetheart.
But you know what? I became friends with her after that, after I got divorced.
Of course you did.
So now when I mean friends, I mean, we talked every once in a while on the phone. You know what I mean?
I'm sure
actually, I got another story with her. I actually called Rick and told him about it, but I won't tell that story here today. But you know what? I did want to talk about some more stuff down in Cincinnati, Rick. Me, you, Jamie Noble, Lash LaRue, we were all in a apartment together. Was there somebody else in there, or was that it? Us 4?
I'm sorry, say that again. Where were we?
Remember in Cincinnati, we were in that extended stay, all of us staying in there, and then we got an apartment.
Yeah.
So it was me and Jamie were sharing the room, and you and Lash were like out in the living room, right?
I don't think it was Lash, was it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. I know it was Lash. I don't know if it was somebody else. Paul knows Lash pretty well, right?
Wasn't Shannon with us?
No, Shannon. He was. I think Shannon had his own hotel room, or that by then he had his own. Maybe him and like Easy Money had an apartment together.
I could have sworn it was Shannon Moore was with us, and maybe Sanders. What about Sanders? Where was Sanders? I can't remember.
No, Sanders had his own deal because remember he had Mandy staying with him.
Oh yeah.
So, do you remember any of the times where like me and Jamie'd get into it and we'd start fighting?
Oh hell yeah.
Do you remember the time I threw that big igloo cooler at his head and it just missed him and it hit the freaking the cupboards in the kitchen and the countertops went flying everywhere?
Yeah. Didn't it break the door off of the
I don't remember. I know it broke something, but then remember he ran out the door screaming. And he went down the stairs. So I picked up a set of car keys and whizzed it at his back and hit him like up off the balcony because he went running outside. So I said, I'm going to get this little motherfucker. And I don't even know what I was so mad about, but I picked up that big wad of keys and flung him right at, hit him in the back. And he's like, oh shit.
Yeah.
So what are your funny stories down there in Cincinnati?
Oh gosh, Cincinnati. You know what? I don't know too much as far as funny. Cincinnati was.
Yeah, it wasn't too fun, was it?
Yeah, I mean, we made it fun, but you know, it was more of I'd say just a learning period for me. You know, I got to get in the ring with greats like Eddie Guerrero and Val Venis and freaking Ming and Brian Adams and you know all these talented guys that you were getting to jump in the ring with on a daily basis and not only learn stuff in the ring but also outside of the ring. I remember Eddie training with Eddie. I used to train at the gym with Eddie a lot. And he would show me different ways of training and different things, and the guy was just an encyclopedia of just wrestling knowledge and just every second you got with the guy was just golden. Those were more of my memories as far as Cincinnati goes.
Yeah, I got you.
Atlanta was a different story. That was being down in the plant, that was daily. That's all we did was break each other's balls every damn day.
Yeah, no shit. Well, yeah, Cincinnati was a different field, but did you ever get to work with Steve Blackman?
A couple times, yeah.
Yeah, Steve was a great guy, man. He taught me a little bit too about the business, and he was one of those guys, dude, that you could not. Like, no matter, like, he hated Jim Ross, and they would send him emails and shit. He'd show me some of his emails. He'd tell Jim Ross to fuck off, and he'd always be playing. He just didn't give a shit. He's one of those guys that, if you fuck with him, like I think that's why they sent him down to Cincinnati, and he didn't give two shits, man. He was just like, fuck these sons of bitches, and he had an attitude that wasn't good for us in the stage we were at, but for him it worked. But I guess it really didn't work for him because he wasn't there long after that, I don't think.
Yeah, no, not really. It's like I said, it was a learning experience, and at the same time, it was also experience on things not to do. I mean, one of the things that used to aggravate the shit out of me was working with a lot of the OVW guys, that we hadn't really worked with before. I every week it was something. Anytime I was working those guys, either I'd end up with stitches, messed up throat, screwed up back, I get kicked in the face. I mean, there was so much stuff that wasn't very professional. They were just so gung ho to make something look decent on TV or in a match. They just weren't the safest guys around. And for me to say that, you know what I mean? Because, I love getting the shit beat out of me, on a regular basis in the ring.
Well, so you're talking about when we went down to Louisville to do the Sunday night TV shows?
No, not so much Louisville, just any of them. How we were doing shows all over the place.
Yeah. Some of those guys were independent guys. I don't think they had a chance of getting a contract. That's where I got most of my injuries, from some of them guys from Les Thatcher School. Yeah,
exactly. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, I had a hardcore match. The one dude, I can't even remember his damn name. He was a good worker, decent worker. But as far as a hardcore match, I mean, he just hitting me with the wrong side of the. I mean, he's whacking me with the what the hell was it? The garbage can lid with the wrong side, with the freaking whacking me with the handle, splitting me open. I mean, just stupid shit like that. I think the one kid, what the hell's his name? I think it was Stryker, something like
Matt
that.
Stryker.
Ended up giving me a freaking throat shot. My throat's still messed up from that. Just stupid shit. Just not paying attention, whatever. But I know the one time. I think it might have been Louisville. I forget what the hell the spot was. That we were powdering out of the ring or something, and the one kid came in and just blasted me in the face, and just took me right back, to the floor. And I was so pissed. I mean, what the hell is this dude? I'm already outside of practically out of the ring. The only thing that was left to go through was my head, and the kid like booted it like he was freaking putting it. Like, so we were backstage, and I remember freaking, getting on him and shit. And Jim Cornette was freaking pissed. He's like, whatever. He was yelling at me for whatever, and he's like, if you weren't you, I swear to God, I'd freaking go outside and I think he said he was going to go outside and get the pistol out of his freaking out of his freaking the back of his car or something. I'm like, well, go ahead, I got time.
No shit. Yeah, you know what? I never really. Those guys treated us a lot different down there than they treated John Cena, Randy Orton, Batista, all those guys. Yeah. Man, I didn't like that vibe down there. You could. From what I've always said before, man, they bought our contracts out to send us up there to get these guys ready for TV, and then they released all of us. And that's the way it was. And I'll have words with anybody that says otherwise.
Well, yeah, I mean, damn well it was an ego trip. I mean, Vince wasn't going to freaking put over guys that, yeah, you know how it is. It was just an ego thing. I mean, he kept a couple of guys who thought it was going to make him money, and I'm sure they did. I mean, look what Bill Booker did up there. I mean, it was freaking phenomenal.
Booker and actually Lance Storm was there for a minute, but there wasn't. Chuck was up there for a minute, but still, all those guys didn't last very long.
No, they didn't. But I mean, guys like Booker and Ray, you know what I mean? I mean, they were going to make their money off of them because.
Ray's still there though.
Yeah, is he? That's good.
Yeah, he does stuff for him because now his son's wrestling for him, Dominic.
Oh, no kidding! I had no idea.
Yeah. So, but I mean, Vince will take care of guys that took care, that made him money and took care of him. So, he'll take care of your sons. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But
that's just part of the business.
We weren't on that list.
No. Even though my dad was Terry Funk, that son of a bitch never done shit for me. Sons of bitches.
Straight out of the Double Cross Ranch.
Yeah, I mean, I even got it fucking branded on my ass. Hey, speaking of asses, how many times did Paul Knox shave your ass before before you guys went out on a tag match?
Oh, jeez, I can't count how many times.
Is there any truth to that, Paul?
Alan, I had no idea he was that hairy. I mean, I really didn't.
How about the lips tattooed on his butt? He told me that was your imprint of your lips. I don't believe it.
You know what? I can't remember. If it was, I'd have had to lay there forever for him to do that.
Well, he said he put some lipstick on you, had you kiss his butt cheek, and then he had it tattooed.
But you know what? I tell you though, after some of them matches with him, it could very well be because I mean I can remember me and Rick would get in there and we would try. We were really good friends. We worked out together. When we got in the ring, we damn near tried to kill each other. both of us like to work stiff.
Yeah,
and I mean that's the way it was back then.
But you know what though? I mean we both got in there. We both knew how to do it without hurting each other. But we got in there and had fun with it. It wasn't going to be a walk in the park. We knew we were going to get in there and we were going to go at it.
Yeah,
I can remember we did a show somewhere, Rick, and we got there, and I mean it was one of those independent shows, and the guys there they were god awful. So we went, we did our match, and the promoter came back there later on, and he said, what's going on with you guys? He said, you guys about killed each other out there. And I can remember you looking over at him, and you're like, you got like 3 guys that just went to the fucking ER coming off of the ladder matches and stuff. And these guys were legitimately hurting each other. And I'm like, we're back here sitting here talking to each other. and they come in, they wanted to do, the battle royal at the end. And I looked over at you and I said, man, these guys are god awful. I said, we're going to get in the ring and we are going to go at each other and take each other over the top rope. And we get in there and we're going at it. And one of their guys comes up and tries to get involved in our deal. Both of us just stop. We look at each other and we grab this guy and we just toss him. He didn't hit anything but the bottom. We just tossed him. And then we hurried up and got the hell out of there.
Yeah, I remember that.
and that might have been the same night that you were driving and we got out on the interstate and your ass took an immediate left and started taking us the wrong way up an interstate.
That doesn't sound like Rick at all.
And we're driving, and I'm like, I thought he was trying to work me. I said, So I said, Rick, and he's like, yeah, Paul. I said, Rick, He's like, yeah, Walt. The headlights are coming right at us. I said, Rick, there's the cars coming. And he's like, oh, shit. And he hurries up and he whips it over across and gets over into the right side of the interstate. I was like, I'll drive from here on out. I said, I'll wrestle anytime you want to wrestle, but you're not driving me anywhere.
God dang.
Well, come on. Alan used to love driving with me.
Hell yeah, I did.
You learned all kinds of new stuff.
Yeah, don't get stuck in the sucker lane.
Yeah, absolutely.
I still use that advice to this day.
Yeah, you don't ever want to get stuck in the sucker lane.
Tell them what the sucker lane is, Rick.
Yeah, the sucker lane is the guys that freaking get over to get off of the freaking exit, and they're 4 miles back, and they're just waiting to freaking. It was just insane. I mean, how many times were we running to the airport?
Yeah,
and we'd be going down. What the heck was that? Was it 285 or something in Atlanta?
285 and 75.
Yeah.
So we'd be on the 285, and it's like 7 lanes of stop dead traffic on either side. It was just insane. And we've got to be to the airport, and I'm like, there ain't a shot in hell I'm sitting in this. I would get over. I had 4-wheel drives. So I'd get all the way over, literally on the grass, and just take it down all the way freaking down. Alan's like, what are you doing? What the shit are you doing?
Yeah, but you know what? That paid off. Your teaching ability paid off, because I remember one time me and Mike Sanders, I picked Mike Sanders up. I was in my Jeep Cherokee, right? So I had TJ's wife, my wife TJ, her mom and grandma in the car. So me and Mike are in the front seat. I'm driving. I said, hold on, Mike. I fucking threw it in 4th gear, went down the right-hand side. Her grandma actually had a heart attack that night and they put her in the hospital. And my wife swears to God it was because of that, me causing her to have a heart attack. But you know what? She didn't die. I'm proud of that. Right?
Got that going for her.
Yeah, at least she got that going for her. God. Yeah,
shit.
see, some of the stuff Rick did teach me paid off. I listened.
Yeah, I showed you how not to go in the sucker lane. I showed you how to drop people. Yeah, it was all the good stuff.
Yeah, all that shit works. If you just listen to the instructions, follow it fully, it's a no fail.
Yeah, see, Alan, I don't know if you remember, but everybody always talked about how mean Rick was at the power plant.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I mean, me and you were probably the only two I knew that could kick his ass on a regular basis. But outside of that, everybody else was scared of it.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Rick knew I could whoop his ass, but I kind of let him look like he was the bigger man most times.
Oh, yeah, you had to make him look good, or you hear about it on the whole ride home.
That's right. Plus, you know what? I was just a hair better looking than him, so he was kind of jealous of my looks anyway.
He always struggled with that,
Oh man, I think it was the last show that I was talking about you, Paul. I said, most people that they looked at you, they look up to you with so much respect, just because the way you worked and how good you were, and how cool it was that people that really wanted to learn how you would literally freaking take all the time in the world just to show them the right way and how to do things. But I used to say, not too many people knew how freaking hilarious that you actually are. Like your sense of humor you were so freaking funny. A lot of people didn't know that because they didn't know how to take it, and you were so serious, when you were teaching and doing shit in the ring. But holy shit, if they actually got to know you and know how freaking hilarious you were, oh my God, you freaking cracked me up every goddamn day in the freaking ring.
So did you hear the story I told him last week, Paul, with the remember when Canyon got a hold of, I think he got a hold of you maybe, or said he needed some extras for that movie they were doing? And then me, you, and Rick went down to the lake down there somewhere in 41 down there and took pictures of each other with all the all the Canadian geese, and the duck shit was all over the place.
I do remember.
So we're down there in the park.
We knew we hit the big time then, didn't we?
Yeah, right. Us 3 guys, we're taking fucking, we went and bought a throwaway camera, taking professional headshots of each other at the lake.
I think I still have those pictures.
I know. I got a couple of them. We're all in our jeans and our fucking high techs, thought we were badasses,
Oh, we were sexier than hell, though. You got to admit that.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I mean, I actually at one point thought about jumping in the lake and getting wet and, getting a sexy hair flip.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's what you actually had here.
Yeah, I had a little bit. It was a little thin, but I had some.
Oh shit! I still have my ponytail, from my skullet.
Yeah, you did have the ponytail. You could have had a mean, wicked, sexy hair flip in the water that day.
Yeah, not that day. That was all you. That was all you.
So then afterwards, we went and got the pictures developed down at the Walgreens or whatever. And then we went to the FedEx store there, and then we mailed them out. And I don't know about you guys, but I was like, oh yeah, man, we're gonna get picked. We're gonna be on a movie. We look so damn good.
Yeah, we didn't get picked for that one.
No, which I never did understand. I still send them letters asking them why.
It might just take a while.
Yeah,
you might still be looking at that store stuff.
That's what I figured. I know it takes a while sometimes, and then we went back to your apartment and was watching damn just TV sitting around. You remember that? Down off King Springs, or didn't you live off King Springs Road or something like that? Wasn't that the name of that street?
Yeah.
In those apartments. I guess I'm on a little delay here. I guess we're having some technical difficulties.
No, actually, your camera is on a delay. You're not matching up with your mouth with the words. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's what she said. Right. Her mouth didn't match her voice.
No, not that
one. Jesus.
That was back when you were. Didn't you live with Elix for a little while?
Yeah. When I first went down.
Yeah, that's what I thought when you guys first came in, because I actually was one of them to put you and Elix through your tryout.
Yeah. And remember, it was only three of us.
Yeah, because I think that's why you were always so damn stiff in the ring with me, to be honest with you.
Hey, Paul, let's not bring up the color Elix. I went through this shit last week with Rick. It has nothing to do with this conversation.
Hey, I will go on record as saying Elix got through that 3-day tryout better than anybody I had ever seen.
Relatively easy, right?
You ain't kidding.
Yeah,
it was not easy, but he had.
It wasn't easy, but when we got in there, I remember I immediately took to Rick and Elix. Both of them, they just had those personalities. I just immediately took to, and I kind of tried to help them as much as I can get through it, because it was mostly there was a lot of psychology involved there. Sarge got up on you early, and we all went through that. And Sarge tried to see if he could break you early. So, I was kind of working with them, and I got the same thing done to me when I came through my tryout. Dale Torberg was a huge help. I don't know if you guys remember. Do you remember the twins that were in there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and they were a big help as well. And, and just trying to, just keep your mouth shut. Don't let them break you, and stuff like that. And that was a huge part of getting through that tryout, was having somebody there kind of advocating on your behalf, because if they wanted you out of there, you were getting out of there pretty fast.
Well, yeah. I mean, there was a lot of guys in the tryout I went through, and I bet within an hour there was only 3 of us left.
Same here, and Rick is the only one that I know that went through that tryout twice.
Yeah, he came back. They laughed at him when they said he was coming back.
Yeah. You know what? That's what kind of irritated me was when I went through my tryout. I went there and I thought, you know what? I'll go do the tryout, and if I fail, nobody will be the wiser. And then I get there, and there's A&E Biography is there with all their cameras.
Yeah, right.
You have no idea. and keep in mind, guys, I had no professional wrestling experience. I had no amateur wrestling experience. I came in there. I could not have came in there any more, inexperienced than what I came in there. And there was like 60 guys there.
Well, that might have been a good thing.
Well, I tell you what they did was, and I went there in August, and that was dumb, going to Atlanta in August for that tryout. But I did that tryout, and it was probably like the first day. There were 6 people left. Yeah. And, and every single one of them, if you go back and you watch that thing on A&E, every one of them was all like, I'll be back. And Rick was the only one that actually came back.
He was probably the only one that ever did that.
Yeah, but you know those guys never even. There was me and another guy. There was actually three guys that one guy just wouldn't quit. He didn't really physically make it through the tryout, and then there was another guy that kind of looked like Orndorff. I mean, and it was a little bit intimidating because he had a wrestling experience. I mean, he had the tights, he had the boots, the gear, and everything. And then there was me that had absolutely nothing. So, and we were the two that they took. But, I can remember being in the ring and, this guy was just stumbling all over the place. And Sarge pulls us off to the side. And he said, listen, he said, if that guy trips you guys up one more time, he said, just kick him right in the head. he's like, get him out of there. He said, you guys are athletes. He said, he's going to get one of you guys hurt. He said, just get him out of there.
For God's sakes, tell him you're on a podcast. Shut that fucking phone off.
Rick is a damn fan.
Hey, Paul, you know what? I'm glad you're here. I'm used to working with professionals. This fucking Reno character, this motherfucker.
You ain't kidding. Yeah, during our tryout, I felt bad for Elix because he had to do a lot of shit with me. And Elix had to be maybe $170, $165 at the time.
Yeah,
180 is probably being kind.
Yeah, I mean, we were outside, and it was sometime in the summer. I mean, it was hotter than hell, and we were outside on that asphalt and doing sprints with each other on each other's shoulders. And I'm going, oh, this freaking poor kid, he's got to freaking hump my ass all up and down this freaking parking lot with, at the time, I think I was, I don't know, I was probably like 240, something like that. And I was always around in that range. Anyway.
Yeah, but Elix did it with no problem, though, I'm sure.
Well, he had some problems, but he did it.
He did it.
Absolutely did it.
Do you remember Brett Hammer, that big fucker? He actually passed away. I remember. I'm pretty sure he passed away several years ago because he went to ECW, I believe. But I mean, what was that dude like? 270, 260, easy.
He was a monster.
I don't know if he passed away because he was actually out here in Vegas with me.
Oh, I thought somebody told me he passed away. Maybe they were saying somebody else.
Are you thinking of Chase Stevens?
No, you mean Chase Tatum?
Yeah, Chase Tatum.
No, I'm thinking of. I was thinking of Brett, but someone told me he passed away. That's the only reason I said that. Maybe I'm wrong.
If he did in recent years, I wouldn't know, but he was out here for a while in Vegas.
Well, see, Pez kind of helped me get through a little bit of stuff because Pez impressed me when I went down there. He was really doing the squats and stuff with us, and I was like, "Holy shit, man!" Pez wasn't the youngest guy at that point, and he had some health issues, but man, he impressed the shit out of me, and he kept me motivated to keep going. And I don't know I'm pretty sure you were at my tryouts, Paul. Do you remember my tryout?
I was, because I tell you what, because I remember walking out there and I remember seeing a Hulk Hogan license plate on the back of the truck.
Well, no, that wasn't my tryout though. I'm talking the tryout.
Oh, well, I can remember coming in there, and I don't know if I was there a full 3 days with you or not. But
that was the one where Sanders came in with a pair of loafers on and a box of fucking donuts.
Oh my God, was you in that one?
Yeah. Unless he did it more than once.
No, he only did that one time, but that was the funniest damn thing.
Well, and I knew he was full of shit. I mean, I was looking around and he come over there with a pair of loafers on. He had a box of donuts. He's over there eating a donut going, "Hey, man." He's like, "Well, wonder how this tryout's going to be, man. From what I hear, it's pretty rough." He goes, "What do you think?" And he was just fucking with me. And then he's like, "I ain't got nowhere to stay. You mind if I stay with you?" I said, "Yeah, you can come down with me. I'm staying down at the Holiday Inn, man. You're more welcome to stay with me," because I knew he was full of shit. And then as soon as them fucking tryouts started, he fucking threw that donut, kicked his fucking over. I was like, "You motherfuckers!" And I'm like, "Yeah, I knew something was up with this guy."
Oh,
but Sanders was in pretty good shape then, though.
Yeah, and Sarge would get people riled up before the tryout.
Oh, no doubt, man, no doubt. He had a way of doing that.
Yeah, there was. I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a couple of tryouts to where they started making Sarge go on the road, and so he couldn't be at the tryout. Yeah, so I mean, you guys know there was a hell of a lot of difference between a Mike Winter tryout and a Sarge tryout.
Yeah, no doubt.
And Sarge. So when Sarge would get ready to go out on the road, he'd get everybody all riled up. He'd be like, can you believe these guys are going to come in and they're not going to go through the same tryout you're going to go through? So, we're all like, oh, yeah, they are going through the same tryout. So he would get us all riled up and stuff, that he wasn't going to be there. So, you had like 8 or 10 guys on top of you.
Man, well, he didn't have to hype me up too much. I wanted to beat the shit out of these fuckers. But going back to the Brett Hamner, we were outside. I remember Pez, he's like, how Pez would be. He'd be like, kind of like he was dancing while he was talking. And he's like, you, and then all the 4 or 5 guys that were left at this point, they were like, I want to carry this guy. And they were like carrying Elix and ping pong. So Pez was looking around, and I looked around. I said, I want that fucker right there. And it was Brett Hamner. He's like, holy shit. You want the big boy? I said, yeah, bring that fucker over here. I want him. That impressed Pez. He's like, that's what I'm talking about, shaking his knees, And that's kind of what got me through that tryout was Pez a little bit there, helped me out.
Yeah, Brett Hamner, he actually did his first dark match the same night that I was at Saturday night working ping pong.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I remember that.
He wasn't that great in the ring, but he was a big son of a bitch.
That's what he was. I remember they came back, and Terry Taylor told him, he said, you need to do a lot more independence before you come back here.
Yeah.
And then they turned around and they put me in there with Scott Steiner, and the match with Scott Steiner went great. They had Buff Bagwell on the side, and he stiff kicked me in the head. Luckily, I saw it coming and went with it. But they thought.
Hey, listen, his name is not. Do not call that. His name is Marcus. that fucking clown's name is Marcus. There's nothing. That B word, I just ain't gonna say it. Fuck him. If I ever see Marcus, I'm gonna slap the taste right out of his mouth, and I'm gonna slap his mom too.
Has he got heat with you?
Oh yeah, he's got big heat with me. Fuck that guy. He thinks that fucking car wreck fucked him up. Wait till he sees me out in the street. You know why I got heat with Bagwell? I don't know if you remember. We were overseas, right? And he was in there bitching in the locker room about my fucking picture being bigger than his in the program. And I thought to myself, who in the fuck thinks about shit like that? Other than that fucking dickhead.
Was that UK tour?
I think it was, because remember that big dude, Ian Harrison, was there. He had a bag full of fucking drugs. He was trying to sell all the boys, all the steroids.
I don't remember that.
But it was like the day it was a day before we went home, and everybody's like, fuck yeah, I'll take about 10 bottles of that shit, but we're going home tomorrow. And I remember everybody thinking about, wonder if we can fucking just inject like 20 cc's in our ass and it'll hold up for a week.
I remember that trip. It was actually they flew everyone out on the West Coast a day early. It was myself, you had Chuck Palumbo, K-Dog, and Ray, because they were all San Diego and I was Vegas. So they flew us all out a day early. So the 4 of us were sitting there like, man, what the hell are we gonna do? So we got on a train and went to Paris.
You got on the bullet train, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. The 4 of us went to Paris and went and did some sightseeing, went to the Louvre and stuff like that. And then we were up on the Eiffel Tower, and it was freaking hilarious. Where the 4 of us are up there, and all of a sudden these guys come up to us and they're like, "Hey, man, can we get your autograph?" I'm like, we're like, yeah, absolutely. So we're signing an autograph. I'm sitting there. I'm like, am I really sitting on top of the Eiffel Tower signing autographs? So this is nuts, So I'm like, oh, so where are you guys from? They're like, Texas. And I'm like,
Texas.
Here I'm thinking, I'm like, oh yeah, we're international stars.
Yeah, no, the people in England, they love the wrestling, man.
Oh, it's hilarious though.
Was signing autographs, was that awkward for you guys at first?
No, it wasn't awkward for me.
It was me, being just freaking nobody, a little guinea from Buffalo, New York. It was absolutely really weird for me, because I was always so such a grounded person, and you know how we all were. All of us that came from old-fashioned blue-collar towns, you know what I mean? We're all grounded, So to do things like that, you're like, are you sure you want mine?
Yeah, right.
You know, and what's funny about that was the first time that I really got a big taste of that. I went and did a show, and so the guy at one of these restaurants invited us all to come back, to the restaurant afterwards. And so like, yeah, all the wrestlers went there. So I'm sitting at a table, and I'm at the table with like Pistol Pez Watley, Iron Sheik, Rock and Roll Express, all these guys. And these little kids were coming up and they were wanting my autograph, and like they didn't even know who the rest of these guys were. So,
that's awesome.
And Pez was right there, and Pez was just ribbing the hell out of me. He's looking over at Sheik, and he's like, you can't just push us out of the way to get his autograph. You see that shit? They didn't know who we were. And I was like, oh god. I'm gonna be doing some squats in the power plant come Monday when I get back from this.
Well, don't worry. Sheik went over to their table and sold them a damn 8x10 for $20 and got them to buy him a beer. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, right.
That son of a bitch could sell a fucking homeless person something. He'd literally be able to sell a homeless person something. That's how good that guy was.
Yeah.
If you ever, I watched him and Pez and Iron Sheik wrestled a bunch of times. And Pez would always be like, hey, you go out and do your match first and get all those bumps out of the way. He said, because that shit ain't happening in our match. And I legitimately sat there and I watched the Iron Sheik and Pez. These guys barely touched each other for 30 minutes.
Yep.
And had the crowd going crazy. Their asses never even hit the mat.
Yeah. Well, when you're over like them two were, it's easy to do that. Like us, we had to work our fucking spots.
I had to bump my ass off.
Yeah, no doubt.
I had to heal.
I remember doing a show with Sheik. I think it was it was an independent, before we got on the show. It was an independent in, I want to say, Charleston, South Carolina. And we were doing it at a what the heck was it? I think it was a baseball diamond. We were doing a show. And I'm in the bathroom before we were going out there. So I'm in the bathroom, and all of a sudden, just, broad daylight out, doors wide open, like the dugout, whatever. So it was all, sunny and everything. And all of a sudden, like, it got really dark. And I just felt this ridiculously huge presence next to me. So I look over, I'm going like, and I just started a little like this. I look up, and this freaking monster next to me looks down. He goes, "What's the matter, kid? You don't know how to say hello?" I'm sitting there going to the bathroom.
I never said that to you.
And this monster, King Kong Bundy, freaking right next to me. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, hello, Mr. Bundy. So yeah, it was crazy because he was actually the headliner. It was Bundy and Abdul the Butcher. And before that, the freaking Hardy Boys were on that card. And they were doing shit. I mean, you're talking $50 for that they were going to get for the night for working the show, They were out there. Dude, I'm not kidding you. Flying over the top rope onto the freaking grass, the baseball. They were doing shit like you make your freaking head spin. And I'm going, holy Christ. And I'm watching these guys, and the shit that they were doing was just insane, I mean, this is way before they even got hooked up with WWE or anything. And
that sounds like me and Elix up in Hobsonville, Kentucky.
Yeah, right? I mean, the shit that you guys did, the same thing. It's crazy for $50, It was insane. And then they did the match, the Abdullah Butcher and Bundy. They did this match, I kid you not. Not only was there not one bump, but the two of them literally just, one had like a butter knife, the other one had a fork, and they just grabbed each other and just jabbing each other in the freaking head, bleeding all over. That was the whole match. They just freaking stabbed each other in the head. Like,
that was 99.9% of Abdullah's matches.
Hey, Rick, I went and wrestled for one of Abdullah's shows.
Yeah.
And I can remember actually Joey Denson actually went with me too. And so we get in the back there and stuff, and Abdullah's back there with all his guys and everything else. And so we're telling him, we're going to wrestle and all this. And I'm like, I'm a heel. And he looks around. He said, "Look around at these guys here." He said, "You're babyface tonight, my friend." Honestly, I had never been a babyface.
Yeah.
And I've always been a heel.
And it's hard to believe being so handsome.
And you know what? And that's what I said myself. I said, but I did it. And Abdullah was like, he said, listen, he said, I want you to come and do a run in our match. And he's working another guy that was even like twice his size. Jesus. And he said, do a run in our match and break us up. And I'm like, all right, no problem. And I wasn't watching the match. So as I'm running to the ring and I see there's nothing but a pool of blood. And these guys have both got, forks and just busting each other all over. And I'm just like, you gotta be kidding me. Yeah, I'm like, I am not getting in there and getting myself cut all to pieces, breaking these two guys up.
So you never jumped in?
You know what? I got in, and as soon as I got in, the other guy like threw a punch, and so I bumped and rolled, and
nice,
and really pretty much slid right out of the ring because it was just covered in blood anyway. But yeah, and it was like then a bunch of other people were supposed to come in afterwards, and like they all just kind of stood around the ring. Nobody else even got in. They were all like, "No, we're not doing that either."
Damn.
I had a match that night with Joey and ended up beating him.
Now Joey's another power plant guy.
Yeah, he had his wife at the time. Her name was Regina, and
What's up, Lowrider?
She had a one of those little whips, and during the match they wanted me to get the whip away from them and to use it on Joey. And Abdullah was like, he said, listen, he said, if you guys are going to use a prop, he says, you better lay it in there. And I said, Joe, you sure you want to do this? And he said, yeah, I want to do this. And oh my God, I beat the hell out of him with that thing. he had stripes running all over him in the back. We were back there putting alcohol on him and everything else, because it was a rough night.
Oh, that's awesome.
Sorry, man. I'm still trying to figure out why. I think I got a delay here. It's pissing me off.
Yeah, you're all over the road there, brother.
Sons of bitches.
Where the hell are the technicians?
It's a damn conspiracy, I tell you, kid.
So, hey, Rick, I saw where I went back and won a match because you were talking about wrestling Ming. And did you wrestle him a couple times?
In Cincinnati I did. But as far as like just doing that dark match for WWE, that was like the first time we were actually, in the ring.
Yeah. He, what was funny is when I was really, right before I got into the Saturday night thing, I'm there and I was just working on lockups and stuff. And Brian Clark used to come into the power plant all the time. And I don't know if you guys ever got a chance to train with him or anything, but he was a super nice guy to work with.
Hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
And he got in there, and Mike Winter kind of liked to do everything soft.
Yeah.
And sure. I locked up with Brian Clark, and Brian Clark was like, "No way, man." He's like, "Get your ass in the back."
Quit doing it like a queer.
Yeah, that's what he said. And he said, "Get all the way back of the ring." And we went back to the ring, and man, we were locking up all day long. I mean, we spent a whole day back there just locking up like a bunch of bulls. We got to the point where nobody else would want to lock up with him because I was used to lock. I mean, he was like 6'5", 6'6", 270, 280. So you had to really come at him with everything you had.
Oh yeah, yeah. But Brian was such a hard worker. I mean, the thing about Brian was so amazing is that guy, the stuff that he could do for the size that he is was just amazing. I mean, you'd see that dude fly over the ropes, through the ropes. I mean, all the crazy shit that he would do and that he was working on so that he could do that, on the show. But the intensity, I mean, his work ethic and the stuff that kid could do, it was just freaking ridiculous. He was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
He was
it's just crazy. But when we were back there, he would always talk about Ming. And he was always like, Ming's he's the tough guy.
Yeah.
So, and so that kind of got in my head, So that time when I went and did Saturday night there and you were there, after the match that I had with Scott Steiner, I go back to the locker room and there's Ming back there by himself. And you remember he had his hair really wild at a time. So he had it all over.
Yeah, the fro.
Yeah. So, and he kind of looks up and he just points and he said, "Come over here." And I'm sitting there thinking, did I steal any of his shit in the ring? And I'm like, well, this is where I'm going to die. So, I sat over there and I'm like, surely to God, somebody's going to come in here at least and break this up before he kills me. I got about 5, maybe 6 seconds of running before he's going to kill me. Yeah. And he, I sit down and he looks up at me and he
should have just started screaming.
Yeah, but he looks up and he's like, you're a hell of a hill out there. He said, the only thing that I got to tell you is, he says, you need something when you first come out to the ring to kind of signify. He's like, you know how Perry Saturn does his Rings of Saturn thing and stuff? He said, you got to have something like that to come out there. He says, if you're going to get out there and you're going to heal the way you're going to heal, he says, you need to start getting some of that stuff developed. And I'm sitting there going, man, this is like the nicest guy, to stay afterwards and take the time for somebody who was an absolutely nobody. I was green as can be, but to sit back there and take the time to do that was just, had a huge amount of respect for him after that.
Yeah, he was one of the nicest guys in the world,
man.
One of the nicest guys in the world, man.
You remember when he let that little, I don't remember his name, down there in Cincinnati. He was a little independent worker, short, little, fat kid. He remember he let that kid chop the shit out and beat his ass that one day down at the school.
No, I don't remember.
And everybody was popping, and Ming just let him fucking chop him to death. Not that it hurt him. And then Ming chopped him once and about put him in the hospital.
That's how much I was.
Shit.
Hey, when you guys did Saturday night, before you came out, did they have you like in a box that was completely closed off, and then it would open up before you came out?
Yeah, that was just a trick they pulled on you, Paul.
It was a trick because no joke. The first time I went out and I did my match of ping pong, they're like, "You're nobody, just walk on out there." I'm like, "All right." So then the second time they're like, "Okay, you're going on TV." So they put me in this room and they shut the door, and it's like, you could see little cracks behind it, and I was sitting there and I'm going, holy shit, this thing's going to open up and then it's going to be on TV. And I'm like, where the hell am I supposed to stand at? I didn't want the door to open up and there my ass be pointing out the door.
I never heard of that. I wonder what the hell that was.
So I'm sitting there like doing a spin around, waiting for the damn door to open up, So as soon as it starts opening up, I had to do a shift to even figure out which way to come out the damn thing. And I was wondering, I'm like, is this happening to everybody or is this just something special they had for me?
I have no idea. They never had that for us, did they, Rick?
I can't remember. But then again, I remember Saturday night. I know you and I did a tag against, what was it, Sonny Siaki and Chuck?
And Chuck. Oh, yeah, that was awesome.
And then I think you and I did one. I remember I did one with Dale, when he first started doing the Demon.
Yeah.
And Dale was backstage, and I think it was Terry Taylor. He was coming around and asking, any of us if we wanted to go out there and do a match with, and put Dale over huge, and I'm going, yeah. I said, yeah, let me do it. I want to do it. So Dale's going, no, don't do it.
No stiffy.
Yeah, he goes, no, don't do it. He goes, that's a total squash match. I literally have to go out there and just kill you for like 5 minutes. Like,
now wait a minute, you can't be exposing the business on my show. This is horse shit.
So I'm like, no, I'm gonna do it. He goes, no, don't.
God dang.
But I did it anyways, I went there and it was great. I went there.
Yeah, shit, all of us would have liked doing that match,
Yeah, who the heck wouldn't want to go out there and freaking? We were all such good friends, we love doing that stuff, going out there and putting each other over.
Well, it's funny. Yeah. I did that. I did the same match with Christy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think with the boots on, I think she might have actually been taller than you.
Hey, damn it!
And she's only what is she? She's 5'1", right?
Hey, listen, I'm the same height you are, there, pal.
No, I think actually by an inch.
Hey, you remember this here, Rick? I got to take my headset down here for this one. Remember this? Slap your head. Yeah. I do that shit all the time to people. And then I go to a restaurant. Hey, Paul, I don't know if you ever experienced this. You ever go to a restaurant with Rick and eat where he'd say, hey, Molly, I'd like a cheeseburger and some fries. Give me some fries with that, Molly. And how How about a chocolate milkshake, Molly? But listen here, Molly. Bring me the milkshake first, honey. How's that grab you, sweetheart?
Yeah, he'd do that at Fat Boys. You remember Fat Boys?
Oh, yeah.
Right? They had a banana chocolate milkshake. And
there it is.
Spring Road. On Spring Road.
My favorite, chocolate banana.
Yeah, Rick turned me on to that place.
Yeah, Rick took me over there one day. He goes like, dude, you got to go to lunch with me. Check this place out. He goes in there and goes, give me 4 fucking cheeseburgers and 4 milkshakes. Fucking, and then Allan, you get whatever you want. I'm like, fuck, we got to go back to the power plant. How the hell are we going to eat all this fucking shit? I'm going to shit my pants.
It'll come up.
God dang.
Hey, that's
Rick was the only guy on the road. Me, Chuck, Mark, and all the guys, we'd be like, fuck, this motherfucker's eating whatever we want. We're over here eating like birds and no water, trying to dehydrate. And this motherfucker's eating like fries and burgers and milkshakes. We're like, fuck.
Yeah, you guys are the pretty boys.
Yeah, you remember every time we went to a restaurant, we'd all get like plain fucking chicken breast, maybe a salad. And I think Chuck used to get like a Diet Coke.
Yeah, you guys know none of you would even look at a carb.
No, fuck no, I sure the hell wouldn't.
Yeah, you're not gonna see the Italian kid on a diet.
Oh my God, bro. This motherfucker, I used to be like, God dang.
That's why I hung with Rick. I couldn't do that low carb bullshit. I had to hung with Rick. I said, we're going to Fat Boys.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Fat Boys is no longer there. I don't know if it was there when you were still here, Paul.
You know what? I think I remember it closing down while I was still there.
I don't even. The building might not even be there. I think at one point it was like a used car dealership, and I think the building might be tore down now.
That place was freaking awesome. They had the best. It was just a mom and pop, just a mom and pop owned place, and everything was homemade. It was freaking awesome.
Yeah, it was good for your fat ass.
Yes, it was.
I don't think they had anything on the menu with less than fucking 80 carbs and 1,000 calories. Fuck.
Yeah, I wasn't the pretty boy.
Well, I mean, you weren't fat either. If I would have ate like you, I'd have looked like King Kong Bundy.
Oh, yeah, just not as tall. That's for sure.
Well, shit, listen, we're over the hour mark here. I'm gonna, tomorrow I gotta work, so I gotta get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. So I'm not gonna go none of this 2-hour bullshit again. But hey, Paul, I appreciate you coming on, man. Surprising Rick. I actually shot awesome. Paul. Well, actually, you shot me a DM, right? Or asking about or something about the show or something. Or no, you had a comment on one of my posts, so I shot you DM and told you I'd shoot you a link so you could surprise Rick.
Yeah, because the first time it was on, you went back and you watched Rick's and you said, I need to get a pretty face on this thing. So then you called me up and you said, we'll surprise Rick. He won't know any better.
Yeah, right. It was good having you on here. Good. So I shot you my cell phone number, Paul, so now you can keep in touch with me, man.
Great.
Yeah, definitely. You got to send me that too.
No, I don't have. He was big dicking me. He wouldn't give me his number. So
I'll send it.
And then what? I might pass it along to Rick.
Anytime you guys need me, I'm there. You two of my favorites from the power plant. Hands down.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Well, yeah. I mean, unless you like ping pong, they're hard body.
Now, you know what? Ping pong used to chop the shit out of me, so I ain't even gonna talk about ping pong.
Hey, listen,
he was another good talent, though.
I got my first set of stitches in the power plant from ping pong.
We all got our first set of stitches.
You know what? Actually, I think ping pong was one of the guys that kicked me in the face during my tryout.
Yeah, that would be ping pong.
Yeah, there was a bunch of guys jumping in the ring, and I remember they were remember Prince IK was in my tryout. He beat the shit out of me.
Oh,
and
man.
That's about the time he grabbed a hold of me, and he was having other guys kick me and stuff. And I think Pong kicked me right in the freaking face.
Yeah, that'll do it.
Yeah, that little slant-eyed bastard didn't hurt me.
Redacted.
What do you say?
What's that? Oh, my bad. If it was a video game, that's the way it would have been. Not in real life.
There you go.
I got carried away. So, sorry about that.
And that's where we end tonight, right?
So, yeah, he told me, you can't use that kind of language on my show.
Yeah, well,
But
somebody's got to pull the reins every once in a while on your ass.
it was damn Rick's fault. I had nothing to do with it. So, all right, man, we're gonna wrap this up, man. It was great having you back, Rick, for part 2. Thanks for joining us, Paul, and bringing up some memories of Rick, man. It was great seeing you.
Yeah,
Reno, seeing you guys.
The reckoning.
But hey, before we, if you want to stick around after we do the end of the show, we'll be back here to chat for a minute.
Awesome.
All right, Preston, let's get out of here, buddy. Thanks for joining us.